How do sudo and root affect system permission errors? Imagine trying to open a locked door and finding the key is missing. That's what permission errors feel like when you're working on a computer system. Now, let's explore how the commands sudo and the root account influence these errors. The root user is like the master key holder of a Unix or Linux system. This superuser can access and change anything on the system without restrictions. When you are logged in as root, permission errors usually don't happen because you have full control over all files and settings. But using the root account carelessly can cause serious problems, like accidentally deleting important system files. That's why most administrators prefer to avoid logging in as root directly. Instead, they use the sudo command. Sudo stands for superuser do, and it allows a regular user to temporarily gain root privileges for specific commands. Think of sudo as a permission slip that lets you perform certain administrative tasks without fully switching accounts. The sudoers file controls who can use sudo and what commands they can run. If your user isn't listed there, or you don't use sudo when needed, you'll get permission errors. These errors happen because the system is protecting sensitive files and settings from unauthorized access. When you try to modify a system file without proper permissions, the system blocks you and shows a permission denied message. If you run the same command with sudo, the system temporarily grants you elevated rights, and the command can succeed. Troubleshooting permission errors involves checking if your user has sudo access or belongs to an admin group. You also want to verify that the file permissions are set correctly for the user or group trying to access them. Sometimes, a permission error might be caused by a misconfigured sudoers file or incorrect file permissions. Remember, avoid logging in as root all the time because it increases the risk of making accidental changes that could harm the system. Using sudo gives you controlled, temporary access, reducing that risk. So, understanding when to use sudo and when to operate as root is key to fixing permission errors efficiently. If you encounter a permission error, first check if your user has sudo privileges. If not, you might need to ask an administrator to grant you access or adjust the permissions yourself if you have the rights. Always double-check the permissions on the files or directories involved. If a file is owned by root and only writable by root, trying to edit it as a regular user will trigger a permission error. Running commands with sudo can help bypass these restrictions, but use it wisely. Mastering the balance between sudo and root access helps you troubleshoot permission issues faster and keeps your system safe from accidental damage.